Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're doing something a bit different. We're focusing on just one source, but it's a really potent one. The transcribed lyrics from the YouTube song Human. It's incredibly raw, very introspective stuff. Our mission here is really to get under the skin of this text, strip away the music, the performance, and just analyze the words, the psychological landscape they paint. We want to extract those core internal conflicts, especially around success and what it really feels like from the inside.
Yeah, it's a fascinating text because it's so vulnerable, so unfiltered. It really maps out this paradox of achieving huge external success while maybe grappling with some deep internal fragility. We're basically connecting the dots here between getting to the top of the mountain, as the text says, and realizing the climb didn't actually fix the hiker.
Okay, let's dive right in then, because the text kicks off with this massive contradiction almost immediately, this idea that success should feel a certain way. The speaker says, I always thought that I would have felt different if I could accomplish my goals. That expectation.
And the reality is just, well, the opposite of what was expected. It's not fulfillment. It's this profound loneliness. The line, as I stare off the top of the mountain, I honestly never felt so alone. That's powerful. It suggests the very effort of climbing maybe isolated them.
Right, like the focus required built walls, and the feeling that comes after isn't victory, it's emptiness. They say it so clearly, all of the things I attain make me feel empty. It's honestly strange. Strange because it defies the script. The script says achievement equals worth.
Exactly. It implies the foundation was maybe flawed from the start. And the speaker seems to realize this, looking inward at their motivation. I think I only care about the chase. That's a pretty critical self-assessment.
If the chase is the only thing driving you,
Then reaching the goal is actually a kind of ending, isn't it? The end of the chase, the end of the meaning derived from the chase.
yeah, and they even describe it as feeling trapped again, caught up in another maze. So success isn't freedom, it's just a different kind of confinement.
It's like you're running circuits, not climbing. The success didn't fill the void. It just maybe removed the distraction of the effort, forcing a look into the void. Which really poses a question for you, listening. Is your own drive about genuine desire? Or is it, maybe, sometimes, just a way to avoid looking inward? What happens when success confirms emptiness?
That's a heavy question. And it flows right into the next part, doesn't it? Because if the external doesn't work, you're forced back inside. And the text is incredibly open about the struggle there,
Yeah.
about mental health. There's this admission, never dealt with the demons inside of my head, and then I don't know how I could cope. It's stark.
The coping mechanism mentioned, taking my life like a day at a time, sounds like just surviving.
Yeah, and it sounds like even that's failing. They say it's been getting hard to ignore. The cracks are showing.
And that sense of being trapped internally is so vivid. Most of my time I spent trapped in my mind feel like I can't breathe, but know that I'm fine.
That phrase, know that I'm fine, that's the kicker, isn't it? The intellectual understanding versus the felt reality.
Absolutely. It's that internal conflict. Objectively, things are good, successful even, but subjectively, they're suffocating. It leads to this agonizing confusion. So why do I feel like I'm dying?
And when you feel like that, it's almost natural to look around, right? To compare. We see that here. I get so jealous when I look around and see everyone living a life without trying. That perception that everyone else has it easier.
Mm-hmm. It feels like their own existence is just constant, exhausting effort, which leads us to this whole idea of pressure. Society has this narrative, right? Pressure makes diamonds. But the artist here just flat out rejects it.
They do. They say the pressure is depressing. Simple as that.
It's more than just depressing, it's defining. The line, life is defined by the weight of the world on my spine. That's not an inspirational struggle.
No, that's just a burden. It's crushing, not refining.
Right. Sometimes struggle is just weight, period. It doesn't automatically make you stronger. Sometimes it just makes it hard to stand up.
So, okay, if you feel this internal pressure, this weight, and you're looking around feeling jealous, the next logical step, especially in the public eye, is probably to hide it, which seems to take enormous energy. Maintaining this facade?
Yeah, the text talks about that directly, having to feint the heart of a line, like pretend to be brave.
And not being able to break down and lose my composure, even acknowledging instability, way too bipolar, but needing to keep it locked down.
It sounds exhausting, like a performance that never ends. And it's not just for strangers. That line about family. I tell my family I'm fine. I know that they know that I'm lying. Oof.
That hits hard. It implies this shared, unspoken agreement to maintain the illusion, maybe because the truth is too difficult for everyone.
Could be. It's a really insightful moment into that dynamic.
Yeah.
And when you can't break down outwardly.
You break down inwardly. Through things like self-sabotage.
Seems like it. The text mentions wanting to run away, which is avoidance, but also this really damaging self-invalidation.
Right, telling themselves, my problems are fake.
And invalidating all the things I create. Why do that?
Well, maybe if your creations are good, but you still feel bad, then the problem must be you, right? Unless you decide the creations or the problems aren't real, it's a way to try and control the narrative.
Yeah, a defense mechanism rooted in fear, maybe ego too. The text says, my ego just wants me to fail. Like failure is somehow safer than vulnerable success.
Safer than showing the world you're honestly frail.
Exactly. And safer than facing a world that feels incomprehensible, being scared of a world that I don't understand. That fear of ambiguity is powerful.
So they're stuck searching for closure.
While intellectually knowing the world is my oyster, all this opportunity, but paralyzed by the internal search.
It makes sense then that they try to manage their focus, their energy, this line. Careful where I put attention, because energy is real inside of a dimension.
It sounds like trying to build a shield, Rex, because the reality is just too overwhelming.
And maybe because there's just not much energy left. They describe their state as barely existence.
That's beyond just feeling down. That's feeling fundamentally diminished. Reality itself feels so abysmal.
And it's not presented as a new feeling either.
No, the text implies this is chronic. Wish it was different since I was too little conflicted with all of these riddles. This confusion, this struggle, it's been there a long time. Fame just turned up the volume.
When existence feels that thin, that abysmal, you probably reach for something, right? Crutches.
The text acknowledges that. The need to feel not so dependent on all of my vices and all of the stories I tell to myself.
The vices as anesthesia, maybe, and the stories as the lies that keep the facade going.
Plausible. It all seems interconnected. But this whole journey, this exploration of the pain and the pressure, it leads somewhere crucial. It leads to this moment of redefinition, confronting an old, maybe toxic belief.
You mean the part about pain?
Yeah, exactly. The old thought, dealing with pain is what made me a man. That classic, stoic, almost rigid idea of strength through suffering.
Yeah, pain is the price of manhood or toughness.
But then, immediately, there's this correction,
Yeah.
this insight.
The pivot. Should have said that. Instead, dealing with pain is what made me human.
That, right there. That's the heart of it, isn't it?
It feels like the resolution. The whole arc leads to that realization.
It reframes everything. The struggle isn't about achieving some diamond-like invulnerability. It's about accepting the shared condition of being human, which includes frailty and pain. It shifts from endurance as worth to existence as identity.
It validates all the struggles we've just been talking about. So thinking about this for you, the listener, what does it all boil down to? I think this source really hammers home that external success, getting to the top of the mountain, it's not armor. It doesn't magically fix internal battles.
If anything, it can intensify them. It strips away the distractions, maybe the excuses, and forces you to confront what's really going on inside. True fulfillment needs that internal work, not just external wins.
And that final insight, that redefinition of pain.
From made me a man to made me human. That's the core takeaway. It's about self-acceptance, recognizing that vulnerability is part of being alive, not a failure of strength.
Absolutely. Which leaves us with a final thought to chew on, building on the idea of being caught between the chase and barely existing. If, like the speaker suggests, the things you attain ultimately leave you feeling empty, where do you draw the line? When does pursuing a goal stop being productive and start becoming just? Running in a maze you built yourself. What happens when focusing so hard on managing external attention, on the facade, starts to diminish the actual internal existence you're trying to protect? Something to think about as you navigate your own path.